Hey, what's up, guys? This is Brian at WhisperStatus74. You're watching Gears 5 on the Xbox One X on the Sony X950H 2020 4K LED top of the line from Sony, full array. We'll be doing this in 1080p on HDR. I filmed this several times in 4K HDR, and YouTube brought it back to 1080p anyway, and the video was only about 6 or 7 minutes long. So we'll show more games here. What I want to show in regards to HDR by filming it in HDR, and before I go any further, special thank you to Robert and Wendy Zone of Value Electronics in Scarsdale, New York, for letting me borrow the X950H. Please consider making your next purchase through them. Their website will be in the description alone. Thank you, Robert and Wendy. The reason I want to show you this in HDR and show you a bunch of different games is HDR has been marketed so much as specular highlights and brightness and vivid. And in a few of these different videos and games, you're going to see different versions of it in terms of its approach and how it's implemented. In this game, it is bright flames and the gun. But what I like most about HDR is the realism of the environments and the color you'll see in the skybox. Before I go any further, let me show you the game settings that I am rocking currently right now. We are in game mode. You can always venture out of game mode if you like. We are going to have brightness at max because we are in HDR. Contrast is going to be at 95. Everything else is at standard as it pertains to HDR. Gamma does not change. Black level does not change because I'm in HDR. Black adjust I do like on high. Advanced contrast enhancer is off. Local dimming is on high. Extended dynamic range is also on high, again for HDR. I do have the color at expert 2. It's warmer only because what I see on screen is warmer than what's on camera. Live color I do like, and I do have it on high. I don't love it outside of HDR. Reality creation, all of these other things are off. Smooth gradation off. Motion is off. So it's a very basic game mode other than live color and black adjust. As far as settings, these aren't calibrations. These are just settings that I'm using and just showing you what is, to show I'm not really pumping the image up with advanced contrast enhancer or anything like that. But you have the muzzle flash, the beautiful golden kind of highlights. And to me, HDR is really what you see in here is color depth more than specular highlights. It's amazing for the brightness. The 950H is very bright. It's a gorgeous display. The bright highlights do pop. As you see here. But again, my favorite part of HDR is really those extra tones of color. We'll do a second part of this. You can also see the PS4 Pro before this video. Please consider liking and subscribing if this is the first time you're seeing me. Gorgeous title, Gears 5. I liked Gears 4 better as far as a game, but I did like the linear storyline better. I liked playing as this character more than I did the character in Gears 5. Gorgeous game. Moving on. Speaking of Gears of War 4, here we are. This is one of the first titles where HDR on the Xbox One really popped. I've seen this game on many HDR displays in my own home. KS9800, KS9000, KS9500, Sony 940E, Sony 900E, Vizio Quantum XP Series, LG V8, Sony 950H, and the 950H is right up there with even the brightest of those displays. This is a beautiful title. Unfortunately on PC they did not include HDR, so Xbox is the place to play it. On this level here you'll see both the specular highlights, brightness, of even these little sparks here that'll make you kind of look away, and then just with the lightning. Very excited to see what the next consoles will do with ray tracing, and it'll only benefit us. The good thing about having displays now, you don't have to really upgrade them if you're happy with what you have. But this display is beautiful. Now, we've discussed in the past with the Sony, is the only real drawback for me is it is very similar to the 950G, which is not a bad thing. The 950G is excellent. The Z9F is excellent. It's just that a lot of them look not big jumps. The Z9F can also still be found at 75 and 65, which will probably be much cheaper than this display here. But gorgeous game, beautiful use of the environment. See all the sparks flying. You kind of get the whole HDR presentation in this title. I did always like this level too in Gears 4. You know, the detail, but you know, the warmth of the lights and the night sky. Always thought it was a nice touch in this particular scene. You know, seeing where he grew up, but just the difference in tone from the other parts of the game.
Was it always like this?
No, it wasn't. I got a lot of happy memories of this place.
Wish I could say the same.
But really nice title, a lot of color.
So how was he able to get permission to live outside a settlement?
Easy. Who was gonna tell him no?
One of my favorite implementations of HDR on any format is Horizon Zero Dawn. This is Forza Horizon 4 for the Xbox. Those two games really, to me, show different formats, how gorgeous it can look. Forza Horizon 4, to me, I had to play it on PC without HDR for a little while as my PC was having an issue with it, or Microsoft was having an issue with it. What it brought to this game, more so than, again, specular highlights, is it really brought realism to the title. So while other games had that look of fire and smoke and everything else, this game really showed what it could really do, how it could really look. Without HDR, it was cleaner, but it had a cartoony look to it. And while it was clean and looked very arcadey, I couldn't play it without HDR. And being a bit of a PC snob, I couldn't go back to the Xbox One X version, though the Xbox One X version looks amazing, as you see my Shockwave Lamborghini. But on this game, HDR has a whole nother meaning as far as I'm concerned, as the overlay just makes the game look real. With the different weather effects, the game just looks amazing. Colors pop. Without it, the colors are brighter. And what's interesting, when HDR first released, again, the marketing had you believe it was all about vivid and almost act as a dynamic contrast. It's always been about color and color depth, color information, and it just really looks amazing. A lot of games, especially the PS4 titles, and Forza Horizon 3, at first people saw the games weren't quite as bright and were thrown off. I was. This game really showed me that it was more about the color and making the game look realistic. I'm proud to say that this channel was one of the first to actually show that Red Dead Redemption 2 had false HDR. You can check those videos out as well. This is one of those games where it's an absolute necessity. It looks tremendous. You know, again, more for the sunsets. A little bit of rain. Let's get off the road here. You just see the sky and the water. I mean, really, really beautiful game. Now, showing this race on Fortune Island, I like because of the weather effects and the lightning that you'll see. And again, the difference in colors. I like being inside the car so you can actually see everything. You see a lot of lightning, wind. For me, gaming is all about immersion. Now, honestly, a lot of my gaming is done on PC. Xbox is my go-to multiplayer. PlayStation is my go-to for its individual games, its exclusives. But PC is my main format, or platform, I should say. So I'm riding through. You'll see all the lightning. So I'm missing everything. Oh, I got that actually. Start that again. Hard to play and watch the camera. Now, the reason you're not seeing any editing or me doing introductions in these is because HDR does not go through the editing software. Which is why you also see a lot of these videos at 4K 60. This is at 1080p HDR. Very beautiful game. Forza Horizon 3 is gorgeous as well. Not quite as detailed, but is also in Australia, so it has a lot of beach to it. We'll do one just on Modern Warfare to show you all the maps, some of the multiplayer. But gorgeous game. Boom. All right, moving on. Speaking of Forza Horizon 3, here it is. Oh, see, while the game looks great, kind of a little bit less detail in terms of the skybox, but still a gorgeous game. Let's go on the beach real quick. And for many YouTubers, Forza Horizon was definitely the video a lot of us went to, or the game a lot of us went to see how things looked. But with this game, ooh, it was all about pop. Moving on. Now I'll show Red Dead, but Red Dead to me was a huge disappointment in terms of its HDR. Simply because it's one of the best looking and most detailed game worlds in all of gaming. I mean, it was incredible. And when the game was first released, it was, even during the snow level, the game looked incredibly washed out. And for many people, it looks better without HDR. It does have this watercolor look to it. And when I hear about, hey, these displays aren't bright enough to showcase it, it was the same with the Vizio Quantum XP series at nearly 3000 nits. It was the same with OLEDs, and even with this display, it just has a little bit of a washed out look to it. It's much better than it was when it first launched, but I'm just showing you a little bit of it. You can see the fire does have some, some punch to it. Skybox looks nice. But what a gorgeous world. It just seems like if it had the implementation that Forza had, it would be perfect. But again, it's what they wanted artistically. But for many of us, I mean, this game would have been... And look, it's an incredible game, don't get me wrong. It does look much better than it did. But it did scratch... a lot of us were scratching our heads about it because, you know, HDR is what so many of us upgraded for. So it is important when you think about the amount of money a lot of us have spent to go primarily for HDR instead of just 4K. But it is a nice looking title. I'm going to fall and break my neck. And again, it does look much better than it did. Let's get down to this water here. Now, I will say also, in terms of, I typically play in a 75-inch display and a projector. There's something to be said about pixel density at a display this size, 49 inches. It is very clean. When you see small monitors, they look flawless. So I see why some people, when they're playing on monitors, think anti-aliasing is not needed. You can definitely see why when the pixel density is the way it is in such a small display. I cannot wait to see the CX or the new Sony OLEDs at this small size. They're going to be unreal. It's just a more detailed image on a smaller screen. I haven't played this in a long time. It does look pretty damn good, actually. It does have a little bit of that haze. I'm also playing this in the morning, but much better than it was. But such a detailed world. It's just basically Westworld. Amazing amount of detail they put into this title. So I'm going to walk back my disappointed comment before. It wasn't having anything to do with the graphics. I mean, unbelievable. If you're going to do open world, this is the way to do it. Moving on. Now you're looking at Jedi Fallen Order. Again, more of a watercolor look to it. Much credit to Vince Zampella and Respawn, the original Infinity Ward. I'll support whatever games they make. Titanfall 1 and 2 are amazing. This game, amazing. But how talented are they to go from creating Call of Duty, leaving after Modern Warfare 2, or being fired, I should say, and then not only doing Titanfall, Apex Legends, and then doing something like this totally out of the box for them, and doing it so successfully. I mean, really, really incredible. They are impressive. And again, probably my favorite, you know, Naughty Dog, Rockstar. But beautiful game. Probably running out of time here, but just want to show a little bit of everything if I can. And we'll do the next video will be PC. I can't do Xbox without doing Halo. The Master Chief Collection is unbelievable. It is amazing in HDR. It is an absolute sin that the PC does not have Halo Reach HDR. Halo Reach is there. I don't understand why that's not in HDR, but to go back and play this game, this is Halo 3. Now on the channel, you can also see most of these games with the LG B8.
Bravo team, this is Johnson. We got it. Fall back to the extraction point. Over.
Actually see how good OLEDs look in gaming. To me, they look unreal. As far as the contrast of OLEDs, the perceived brightness of OLEDs.
That sounded close.
Johnson, you be advised. Hostiles are on the move. I've got eyes on Bruce. Over. See you again, Gunny. You're breaking up.
But the audio in these games is definitely the gunfire.
Phantom inbound.
You can hear it.
We stick together.
I want to show you these, the water and the level. Really beautiful. I went and redid all these. For many of you, bring back those 360 days. Halo 3 being basically the final Bungie Halo with Master Chief. Definitely lost their way since then, I'll tell you that. What's up, homeboy? You see how bright the gun is. It's so beautiful, the water getting shot. Alright, moving on. Halo 5, not a great game. Actually, I won't talk too much about the game, but definitely a very good looking game, and one of the games that definitely benefited from the Xbox One X. But as far as a lot happening and the way the game looks, has a more saturated look, and definitely a vibrant title. Yeah, you definitely just see what it provides.
She said there was something big happening. And get Captain Lasky coordinates to find her.
There must be something big.
One hell of a trap.
I won't spend much time on this one, but just want to show you how good the world looks and how beautiful the game is. But really disappointed in this campaign. Like many of you, the marketing is what I really went after. I really wanted to see Master Chief. So just a little bit of a look. It is a good looking game. Speaking of Halo Reach, here it is in HDR on the Xbox One X. Wish it was on PC in HDR, but it looks beautiful on the Xbox One X. Now, though it does look a little bit cleaner on PC,
Structure point 3-4.
I have to go with the HDR version of the Xbox One X. It just, again, adds that color. This level is very drab on PC.
Distress beacons coming from just south of your commander. We're close.
Showing a little bit
Roger that.
of this
Eyes
image.
peeled.
Really rooting for Halo to come back in a strong way. The multiplayer was actually pretty fun. But for many of us console gamers and original console gamers, Halo
Found a beacon.
2 was our real big taste of first-person multiplayer. The original PC crew has been playing it forever, but for us, that was the first. Yeah, beautiful. Weather effects, I mean, really, really nice looking. But again, that HDR, really nice. Just don't understand why they have these muted sound effects, but we'll skip over this part.
Neighbors were attacked last night.
Just how cool his armor looks.
Gunfire. Stopped around sunrise. Says something in the fields killed his son.
Something.
Multiplayer was very fun on Reach as well. Just really missed Master Chief.
Get them back inside.
Now I'm going to keep going until this just cuts me off. HDR, it changes the amount of time I can go. And run button, that was big for Halo series. And no HDR sliders in Halo either. It would be nice if they had a little bit of that. Little horror element there. Again, for display that's being said there's all kinds of blooming, you're seeing nothing here. So.
June, you see anything?